the first of his name? Bob.
That's not my name.
That's too bad. It is now.
What?
Wrong hat.
Do you want to say the joke again?
What?
Do you want to say the joke again?
The joke again.
I'm Josiah. I'm joined today by Abbott.
I'm Abbott.
And I'm Josiah. Okay, I brought a guest today.
No, I brought the guest today.
No, I brought the guest today.
I did.
No, I did. I brought my kids.
Actually, I think he drove himself, so I think he brought himself.
Yeah, well, maybe that's true. But this was my kid's pastor. Well, hold on.
And mine.
I don't have any kids, but this was my kid's pastor.
And mine.
Right. Growing up, we got Pastor Ben. Could you introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Pastor Ben.
Can we call you PB?
You can.
We were going to call
This
you
is
it anyway.
J.
You could be the A, like for and.
PB and J.
That was the name of my first stuffed animal because it was a panda bear. So I was like, it's Panda Bear and Josiah.
Huh.
Yeah, I felt clever for that one, but I don't know. Anyway, did you have a scripture to share with us
Yes. But if our righteousness brings out God's righteousness more clearly, what shall we say? That God is unjust in bringing his wrath on us? Certainly not. If that were so, how could God judge the world? Someone might argue, if my falsehood enhances God's truthfulness, and so increases his glory, why am I still condemned as a sinner? Why not say, as some slanderously claim, that we say, let us do evil, that good may result. Their condemnation is just.
Thoughts, Pastor Ben?
It's kind of interesting. It's a little bit of a back and forth, but it really shows that on the one hand, we usually don't do all that great when we compare ourselves with God and his goodness.
I think that's safe
Can't
to say.
compare ourselves.
I mean, if you look at like the 10 Commandments, it's like we like to have a lot of grace on ourselves in not the most fair way, right? We like to look at ourselves in the best light, and then you actually weigh it up against like what God has asked us to uphold, the 10 Commandments, right? What he has asked us to obey, and then we find out, oh no, I've broken those. I'm a liar, right? You can call me a liar, and you wouldn't be a liar for doing so.
Liar.
Oh man. But yeah. If compared to God, our righteousness is nothing, right? Compared to God, our grace, our love, we can't even measure up, right? But Pastor Ben, another question that kind of arose through here is it okay to do what's wrong so that something good happens? Do something bad so something good happens?
It's a good question. And I can see how someone might kind of think that that's okay. It makes me think of Robin Hood. You familiar with Robin Hood?
Yeah.
He steals from the rich to give to the poor.
Because the poor need something.
Right. Is that okay? And I think what Paul is trying to say here is that just because when we do something bad, it highlights that difference between us and God, doesn't make it okay for us to do bad things. I think the flip side of it is when we recognize that even though we don't always get things right, we are made in the image of God. And so God would much rather us reflect his goodness to highlight how good he is instead of being the opposite to highlight how good he is.
Right. Because if we can portray God's character in the way we live and the way we act and the way we talk to our family, our friends, right? how much more glory does that bring God than if we were, just going around and doing our own thing, sinning as often as we wanted to? Do you think that would bring God much glory? You could show the depth of his glory and the depth of his mercy and the depth of his grace, for that he's still willing to forgive us, right?
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that we should go showing off the depth of his grace by sinning wherever we go, right? Abbott, do you have any thoughts?
I think you pretty much covered it.
But yeah, did you have a time ever in your life, PB, where you did the wrong thing for the right reason?
The only thing I can think of would be what sometimes we call a white lie.
Right.
And that's where you don't tell the complete truth
But you're
because
not
of
lying.
well, the reason is because it might make someone feel bad.
Right.
But in the end, is it better to keep that from them and just let them think the wrong thing? Or is it better to tell the truth, even though it might be hard to hear, but it would actually help them in the long run?
Because sometimes it's better to hear the things you don't want to hear, right? Because just to hear the truth, well, I can make a better decision if I have a better understanding of the decision I'm making too, right? I can make a better decision if I have more of the picture. If someone has told me the truth about the way I'm thinking about something being flawed, or the way I'm acting on some emotion not being in the right way with God, right? If someone can point that out to me, do you not think that would help me, even if it might hurt my feelings too, right?
Here's an example. Imagine that Abbott over there has really, really, really smelly armpits.
Can we switch chairs?
If I didn't want to hurt his feelings, I might not say anything about his smelly armpits.
But then
Because
he might
I
never
don't want him
discover
to
deodorant.
feel bad. But if I say, hey, Abbott, I love you, and your armpits kind of smell kind of bad, have you heard of this thing that they sell at the store called deodorant?
Have you? Well, his armpits don't actually smell.
They
do they?
don't actually
Okay,
smell. That's
okay.
the good news. But we're just pretending, right?
And I love the way you also led with love too, where
Yeah.
you said it in a position where he's like, it's almost like a compliment sandwich too, where it's like,
Yeah.
now I'm giving you like a nice compliment too. I'm like, Abbott, I love you, but here's something that you might need some working on, right?
Well,
And then it's like, but I got some good news too, because here's how we can fix it, right?
Yeah, I
Deodorant
think-
for the win.
I think doing that too can sometimes not be good, because that's not what God really wants.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wants us to help the person understand, like, I guess, it's just to mix real good things with something that's bad. You can't really do that. They don't mix well. Because
Two wrongs don't make a right as well,
Yeah.
right?
like, you can't mix Satan with God, because they aren't the same at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Also, another pull away we can take from this verse too is that when you're looking at an action that you've made or an action that someone else has made, when you're looking at it, you can't look at whether or not it was right or wrong by the outcome of it or how it resulted. You have to actually judge it based off the merit or the right or the wrongness of the actual action itself, right? So it's like, I don't know a good example for this. Let's say it's like I have to take away from you something, right? But in taking it away from you, now I've disabled you from doing something, even accidentally, that could hurt a lot more people, right? Like maybe you have a deodorant that smells even worse than your armpits, and I take that away from you, right? Well, now I've just stolen from you, even though I might make you smell better by doing so, right? That could also be a bad thing. So it's kind of a place where we got to be careful.
You got to do the right thing because it's the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Do the right thing for the right reason.
There you go.
That sounds even better than doing the wrong thing for the right reason, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't I choose that? I
Two
got a
rights
little.
is better than a right and a wrong.
It's true. But I got a little game we can play. There's a lot of choices in today's world. I got a list of a few things. But to kick it off, okay, I will prepare you. This is going to be a little bit ridiculous. But would you rather fight chicken-sized horse? 10 of them.
Whoa.
Chicken-sized horses.
10 chicken-sized horses.
So it's a horse, but it's the size of a chicken, and there's 10 of them. Or would you rather fight a horse-sized chicken, but there's only one of them?
I can safely say that I'd rather do 10 chicken-sized horses.
10 chicken-sized horses?
Because I know that chickens can peck hard.
Yeah, but horses kick.
Horses kick and they stomp. Could you imagine a bunch of little hooves stomping all over your feet?
Your toes
I still
would...
don't want my eyes and my head to be pecked out by a giant chicken.
Do you think you could take a giant chicken?
I think I would jump on the giant chicken's back and then ride it. I would tame it and I would make it my, I would just trade in my car. I wouldn't have to have a car anymore.
Trade it in for nothing.
There
Trade it in
goes-
for cash.
So I think I would just tame the beast that is the horse-sized chicken.
There
rather
goes
than
PB
slaying
and
the
his giant
beast,
chicken.
resolve it peacefully. Well, that would work if fighting
So-
wasn't part of the prompt. But
so you're
I
saying
like where your head's at.
That next Sunday,
next Sunday, you're gonna be riding your.
yeah, there's gonna
horse-sized
be a
chicken?
giant horse-sized chicken in
Do
the
you think you
parking
could
lot.
carry a family on a horse-sized chicken?
I think I would craft a saddle and it would have these little like places to sit where the feet dangle out, like a little car seat
A horse's feet or
like a
people's feet?
stroller, how like
Oh,
a baby's feet hang out.
Yeah.
But my whole family would be sitting there and they'd be in their own little seats with their feet dangling out.
You
on
could
the
fly.
Sides. On the sides, chickens don't fly.
Right, but if you
Chickens-
fell off of a roof with your chicken,
It might flutter to the ground.
you'd
But
be
then
safe.
I would be right on the back and I would ride that thing.
That's a visual.
Yeah.
I want a picture of that too.
Me too.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see it.
me too.
There goes PB and his giant chicken.
There goes our editors
That's-
working away. Would you rather have the ability to see 10 minutes into the future or 150 years into the future? I feel like 10 minutes might be a little bit more practical, but also
Yeah,
I'm a lot more curious about
You
150.
could see 10 minutes into the future. You could, like, stop something that might happen 10 minutes later than in present time. You could go back to present time and keep that from happening. But also, we're not really supposed to see in the future or be able to time travel because you see in movies how much that messes things up.
Right. Also, there's an order that would kind of be upset there. I don't know.
I think I'd rather see 150 years into the future because it would allow me to see the impact that my life had on the future. So I'd get to see my great grandkids in the future and hopefully see how much they love God and serve him.
That'd be awesome. Also, you could maybe even use it for decision making if you could do it at will, right? And you could be make a decision and then you see how it affects the future and then maybe roll that back a little bit because you don't like the impact it had.
There you go.
There you go. Well, that'd be even better than 10 minutes. I'm with you here. All right. Would you rather have telekinesis, the ability to move something with your mind, or telepathy, the ability to read minds?
The ability to move something. My mind, I think.
I think I would be really scared to know what the two of you are always thinking. So I'd have
Why?
to go with telekinesis.
Why are you scared of us?
Have you seen the Kids World podcast?
No.
You should check it out.
You should check it out. And if you haven't checked it out, I don't know how you got here.
And if you have checked it out, share it with a friend.
And stick around for more. We got some more fun stuff coming up. Next question.
More questions?
I guess so. Would you rather give up air conditioning and heating for the rest of your life or give up the internet for the rest of your life?
Give up the internet.
Why?
Because I don't want anything to do with today's internet.
No, so you'd rather... Wait, I thought it was going to be like you would rather have the internet or not have... Wait, you'd rather have the air conditioning than the internet. But you're just saying you don't want the internet in the first place.
No, I don't want the internet.
What if you could have air conditioning and the internet? Would you still throw away the internet?
Yeah.
You know you can do that, right? But then how would the podcast go up?
Okay. I
Other
think
people
I
can
would
the
have
internet.
to.
I don't.
I think I would have to give up heating and air conditioning because I don't think I could live without cat videos.
Games on
True.
your phone?
We
You got
do get a
games on
lot
your
of
phone?
information, and like we still have good things like the Bible on our phones, and
I also
so we
have the
kind of need
book
internet
Bible.
for that.
Not really. I don't feel
We
like you
need
for the
internet to
Bible.
buy Bibles too.
I think they sell them at Walmart.
There are a lot of good things and a lot of bad things you can use the internet for. So I think we kind of have to live with the internet now.
If I'm hungry, I really like the internet. I can like text and have a pizza show up at my door. It's pretty awesome.
That is pretty sweet.
I know. So I don't know. I don't know if it's worth giving up air conditioning for though.
Yeah, air conditioning would be a pretty hard thing to give up. But I feel like air conditioning has a lot less impact on our life than the internet could.
But what about the heating part?
Would you rather swim in a pool full of Nutella or a pool full of maple syrup? Also, I was told we would be doing some of these, but I don't see any pools, so I'm kind of relieved.
A pool full of Nutella. Because maple syrup, you can probably get through Nutella a lot more. What if you get stuck at the bottom of the maple syrup?
Would you sink in Nutella?
Yeah.
You would?
I don't think so.
Or hazelnut spread? Would we sink in hazelnut spread?
No, you'd just sit on top.
Yeah. I mean,
I think you would sink.
Wait, would you rather swim in it?
would you rather swim in hazelnut spread or maple syrup? Or
Well,
wait,
You'd be able to swim in the maple syrup because, like I said, you'd just be stuck
I don't
in
think
one
you can
spot.
swim in either one of them. But I'd rather be in the pool of hazelnut spread because it doesn't... I wouldn't
Hazelnut
sink in
spread, just call it Nutella.
it. No, that's
Copyright.
a brand. That's a brand.
Whatever.
Anyway, would you rather wear a giant wreath, Pastor Ben, for the rest of the episode, or would you rather be lame?
I really don't want to be lame, so I think
Well,
I'd rather
you
wear
already
a
kinda
wreath for the rest of the episode. Ow.
Here we go.
Okay.
Didn't you expect this?
I didn't.
I
No
know what
offense,
you
Pastor Ben, but you already kind of are lame.
But would you rather be pelted with snowballs or stress balls?
Stress balls. Ah! Hey!
Don't hit
Not a
me!
stress ball,
Don't hit
it's a
me!
controlled ball.
I'd rather be pelted with snowballs, for the record.
Those aren't snowballs. Oh, yeah, they are.
Can't even get me.
Josiah, this is getting kind of heavy.
This might just be the rest of the episode. Pastor Ben, do you want to pray us out?
Absolutely.
Don't put the kids' world thing down.
Dear Jesus, we thank you so much for your word. We thank you for how good you are and how we get to experience your goodness every single day. God, I pray that you would help us every day to follow your word, to do things the way that you want us to, and reflect your character to the people around us. God, we need your help, so please help us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Ah! Ow. Caught it. Doesn't count. One more.
No.
Need a snowball. Kids World Podcast, out.